Apparently, these are some long patch notes. Chat was telling me there's... Well, these are some beefy patch notes. All right. Let's mute the Overwatch. All right. Chat, what do we got here? February 26, 2019, Overwatch PTR patch notes. Mighty thick, mighty long. It's my first look. I know nothing. We're just going to see what's going on. All right. New patch is currently in development. Please note, blah, blah, blah. New hero, Baptiste. We already just read all this 2 minutes ago, but we'll read it again. Baptiste is a battle-hardened combat medic who wields an assortment of experimental devices and weaponry to keep allies alive and eliminate his enemies. Baptiste's biotic launcher fires a three-round burst that rewards accuracy and recoil control with significant damage output. Wait. He doesn't... Does he even have recoil? It's like pew, 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 you know? Is it really a recoil? Also, is my face cam blocking anything? No, we're safe. Cool. Says his alternate fire lobs grenades that heal allies near the point of impact. With regenerative burst, Baptiste activates an intense surge that heals himself and nearby allies over time. When danger is near, Baptiste can toss out his immortality field to prevent allies from dying. Baptiste moves around the battlefield with exo boots, jumping over obstacles and clearing distances that would stop other heroes. Baptiste deploys his amplification matrix as his ultimate, which doubles the damage and healing effects of friendly projectiles. And apparently that applies to hit scan. So we just played him a little bit in the training range. He looks... I am so interested to see how good he is versus dive with immortality field. Like that kills a dive. Like if you're getting dove and you just drop that little, like boop, no one dies, it's oh my god. And you know, Grav, this character is gonna change a lot of things, I think. But you know what's gonna happen most likely? Before I read these patch notes, before we go into the rest, everyone's just be like, lol, Baptiste goats, can't wait to see that one. But then we get into the patch notes, chat. Let's see this. General updates, armor. Beam type damage is now reduced by 20% when hitting armor. Damage over time effects are no longer mitigated by armor. The damage taken by armor from damage over time effects such as Widow's Venom Mine and beam weapons such as Symmetra's Photon Projector varied greatly. Now will be more consistent and predictable. So who gets the biggest buff out of this? Zarya, Symmetra as the two beam users. And the third one is Ashe. Ashe, this is a huge Ashe buff because it used to be that Ashe had almost nothing. With her, let's say you were playing Ashe into goats, you would just farm Bob over and over, right? And you just spam it. And now they're no longer mitigated by armor, so hopefully it's better. Ana also does a dot. Well, I don't know how much, I don't know the armor effects of Ana. I'm just talking about how Ashe nade would work versus Deathball comps that have armor. That's pretty important for Ashe. And this makes it a little bit weird for Symmetra and Zarya. Like Diva got kind of rolled by Zarya and Symmetra, but now that it's reduced even more by 20%. Does this mean it's always consistent for all beam type damage? Like, was that always a thing by 20%? What's the before and after? Is it even a nerf? Because I don't remember how armor perfectly interacted with everything off the top of my head. So this one, I can't say anything about this. I genuinely don't know what that means. What? 1 sec. Damage boost is now applied when a projectile is fired rather than when it hits a target. That's it. Why would they change that? Previously, the effects of damage boosting were only accounted for if the damage dealing hero was being boosted as they landed a hit. Now damage is applied to the projectile as it is fired. This means the damage dealing hero does not need to be boosted when the projectile hits an enemy for the damage boost to be counted for. Why? What messes with that? I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. During the release of Overwatch, everyone thought that's how we would play it. But now it's just weird. It's kind of a buff to Pharah because it's a lot easier for a Mercy to amp every rocket and then juggle healing than trying to amp every rocket as it hits out of LOS of the Mercy. So Pharah Mercy will be a lot easier for the Mercy to juggle that. And as well as Reinhardt Fire Strikes. Yeah, that too. I also think that's much more intuitive because most people thought that's how it worked at the release of this game, and that's how then we learned that's not how it works, and then people figured it out. But I think this is much more intuitive. Knockback distance is now more consistent. Heroes that are flying can now be knocked back and slowed. Developer comments. Knockbacks are now less affected by how the enemy was moving when they were hit. Instead of having small or large knockbacks that depend on chance, knockbacks will feel similar regardless of the enemy's movement leading up to the knockback, allowing flying heroes like Mercy, when using a Valkyrie, or Diva using a Brewster, to be properly knocked back makes for more fluid, realistic gameplay. I have to play. I don't know. Lucio's will tell me everything. That could be like the biggest buff in the game to a Lucio. I actually have no idea how that works. Because now Diva can actually be booped. And it used to be Diva and Orisa barely got booped anyway because they were so slow. Do you know what I mean? Like if they're holding left click, not even shifting, right? They wouldn't barely get booped. Does this mean everyone can get booped by Lucio? Just like, is this secretly a giant Lucio buff? Or is it secretly just a Lucio nerf? Does it prevent all of the giant boops where like people were running, jumping a boop, like you got booped across the map? Is that gone? I don't know. I have no idea. Sound. New sound plays when you land a hit while damage boosted. A new sound plays when you land a hit, but it does no damage or doesn't do any damage. Developer comments, with the addition of Baptiste, we wanted to make sure that you could tell when your hits were being buffed or nullified regardless of the hero you're playing. Oh, that makes sense, because if someone's invuln, all the new players who don't pay attention, right, they would sit there and they would go, why is this person not dying? They're probably cheating. And they just like hold left click, right? So now if there's a generator and I'm shooting somebody, now I actually get to see that. And I want to hear this sound. All the sounds in Overwatch are so satisfying to hear. I really want to hear that one. The hero updates. Into the balance changes, boys. We just got done with the basic ones. New players, but come on, chat. Okay, hero updates. Ana. Nano boost. Heal reduced from 300 to 250. Developer comments, giving nano boost and an instant heal effect enabled players to survive longer and made Ana's ultimate valuable. However, it needs to be slightly less effective for refilling large health pools. I mean, it's 50 HP. I don't actually know, like, does that even matter? I guess it only affects tanks. So, like, if I'm nanoing a Winston, do they just not get full healed or something? Like, I don't think that really matters most of the time. Like, I think it's going to be such a niche scenario where that 50 HP will ever actually impact you. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Because that's mostly only going to affect tanks. Doom Fist. Rising Uppercut. Cooldown reduced from 7 to 6 seconds. Seismic Slam. Cooldown reduced from 7 to 6 seconds. Developer comments, reducing the downtime of Doomfist's ability should make his gameplay feel more fluid. Okay. I mean, Doomfist got nerfed into the ground, chat. No one cared about Doomfist. He was, like, deleted from the game. So anything they can do to bring him back even a little bit, and he's not even as frustrating as he used to be anymore either, because they nerfed his ultimate. They nerfed a lot of the, you can actually move when he uppercuts you now. There's no more giant pull on the slam of his E, I think. Stuff like that. So, yeah, sure, bring him back. This should help out a lot. I'm not a Doomfist player, but his cooldowns are the most important thing about him. So 1 second. I think they're scared to go too far, so 1 second, yeah, sure, why not? That's probably a good starting point. The big nerf was his seismic slam distance, yeah. That was his E. Hanzo's Sonic Arrow. So detection radius increased from 7 to 9 meters. Is that his old radius? It says developer comments, because of how dense the environment is on some maps, the Sonic Arrow can feel ineffective in some areas. Increasing Sonic Arrow's detection radius should make it more effective. What was his old radius? Isn't that like in between? His old radius was 10 or 11. So one of you said 10, one of you said 11. So in other words, it's just a big buff, because 2 meters radius, it's a pretty big buff. So Hanzo can see more flanks, sure. Sonic Amplifier Sound Wave now counts towards offensive assists. The knockback on Lucio Sound Wave is a great tool for pushing enemies into situations that get them killed, so they should be rewarded on offensive assists for doing so. Okay, that seems like a stat thing. I don't think it matters. I don't care. McCree. Okay. Fan the Hammer. Damage reduced from 55 to 50. Okay. So they just get rid of his right click buff? Is it just back to normal? Deadeye, damage per second increased from 275 to 550 after locking onto targets for 2.5 seconds. It was 45. Okay. So it's still a decent buff compared to before, just not as much. Okay. For 2.5 seconds. So what are the two most important areas this accounts for? Versus tanks, people in Gravs, versus Rhine shields, versus... I think that's pretty much it. It's mostly for breaking shields and killing tanks. So if anyone's in front of you... Wait. 2.5 seconds? Oh, wait. Let me read this again. Damage per second increased from 275 to 550 after locking onto targets for 2.5 seconds. That's vague to me. The reason I'm asking this, chat, is because there's a very common situation where do I have to lock onto a target for 2.5 seconds, or do I have to be in my ult for 2.5 seconds? Let me read this. I should probably read the description. You're right. I don't know why I didn't. Anyway, after reducing armor's effectiveness for all heroes, Fan the Hammer doesn't need to deal quite as much damage. Increasing Deadeye's damage after being locked on for a bit makes it more effective when attacking high health static targets like barriers and heroes with over 600 health. It will not impact how dangerous this is for heroes under 600 health. Okay, so it is per target. Based on that description, it is based on the lock-on. It is not based on the... The reason I was scared, chat, is because if McCree gets speed boosted around a corner after he ults and then suddenly does 550 DPS, comes around the corner, just one-shot your whole team, that'd be insane. But obviously this is only if they're locked on for a target for 2.5 seconds. Essentially what they're doing is they just change the scaling to be like, okay, tanks, fuck you. It's like, they're just like, they want to kill all the tanks. Deadeye is now anti-tank. If he locks on you for 2.5 seconds, it's just killing everyone. Okay. A May change? Endothermic Blaster. Primary fire damage increased from 2.25 to 2.75, aka 45 to 55 DPS. Okay. Ice Wall. Health reduced from 500 to 400. Why would you do this? Developer comments. Increasing the damage of May's primary fire should make her freeze and icicle move combination more potent. Making the pillars on May's Ice Wall easier to destroy means less waiting for the wall to disappear on its own and more opportunities to counter it. I guess. So teams can just instantly break the wall then, right? That's a lot of health. That's a huge change. 100 HP may not sound like a lot, but it's actually a lot. It'll feel... That wall is going to like... You can break those two pillars. So how it used... pretty much, you're never going to get a full wall now. It feels like if you're versus a team that knows to shoot the wall and you're walling like Hanamura choke point, that wall will be gone in like 2 seconds max. That's what it feels like. With that nerf. Before, it was already about over 2 seconds, but it was right as the wall was dropping anyway. It seemed like 1 to 1.5 seconds. Now now if there's a Bastion, he's like, yeah, there is no wall anyway. This seems more like a... I get very worried when they do changes like this, chat. Primary fire damage increased. Not because of anyone who's actually good, but because of all the noobs in the game who get owned by Mei left click freezing and then right clicking you. They're going to be even more triggered. Okay, Moira. Biotic Grasp. Heal over time duration increased from 3 to 4 seconds. Total healing increased from 50 to 65. Developer comments, these minor changes make Moira's passive healing effect on Biotic Grasp slightly more effective when topping off an ally's health. So they're just buffing the crap out of the hot. How is that minor? This seems pretty nice. Like they just tap and now you get 65 instead of 50. I mean, it seems like a good buff. I mean, the hot is slightly longer and slightly more. I mean, isn't that the left click? It still takes 4 seconds. I don't know. I mean, it's just more healing, right? Screw it. So Moira is slightly buffed, so more healing. Orisa. Fusion Driver. Movement penalty while firing reduced from 50% to 30%. Developer comments, as a defensive tank, Orisa can have trouble pushing forward with the team. Allowing Orisa to move faster while firing should make it easier to apply pressure on the enemy team and use her barrier in more proactive ways. That's cool. I like that. I like being able to move. Everyone sees Orisa and you just sit there and just get wrecked. Like, if like, no offense, but if you're ever in Orisa shooting, every single person knows they're basically AFK. Like, if they're sitting there shooting, it's not like they can move. Like, they're like exactly what Jane said. Jane just said in chat, too bad her head hitbox is still the size of a planet. Like, it's not like you can move. It's not like you can dodge. Maybe now you can, like, do this really small ADS crouch with your planet-sized head. I don't know, dude. Anyway, hopefully it's decent. Farah, rocket launcher. Minimum explosion damage increase from 16.25 to 20. Oh. Developer comments. This change sets the rocket launcher's minimum damage to where it was before we rebalanced its direct and explosive damage in a recent patch. So wait. Is this a buff? Wait, did they change? I need to do tests. I know it's a buff, but like in my head, I'm thinking to myself, okay, does this change the scaling of how that works? Or is it just only the minimum damage? Or is it just, is this just a revert of that old Farah change? It's only buffing the minimum damage, not the splash. So isn't it? So there's a very small scenario with Farah where that happens pretty regularly, where a target is 1 HP. Like, let's say you hit like 3 splash. This is post buff Farah, which I haven't played enough of. But there's a pretty regular situation with Farah where you would get someone to like practically 1 HP and just need one more rocket to finish. Maybe that would change the time to kill by 1 rocket. I don't know the numbers because I haven't played new Farah enough in my head since she was tweaked to know this off the top of my head, because they changed this after I was done playing Farah for the most part. I would have to go look at that. See, the max splash is still not 80. Yeah, I know it's the minimum splash. I know. So this seems like a really minor buff, but I don't actually know until I play if that'll change the time to kill significantly. Holy crap. Okay. Pulse rifle damage increase from 19 to 20. So for those of you who don't know, soldier, that drastically changes his time to kill, because that's, dude, that's a lot of damage. Like 20 damage. We're back to 20, boys. That one season where soldier was good, we're back. But now everything in the game has changed. We'll see if soldier is still actually good. This is old soldier 76. This is what it's like. Sprint. Delay before you can fire the weapon after sprinting reduced from 0.5 to 0.3. That is absolutely massive. Now if you catch a soldier sprinting, it doesn't matter. He's just going to shred you instantly anyway. So you can do your typical movement and run around, and he's still going to be insane. Tactical visor can now target Riptire and a mortality field at Riptire. Peace. Okay. Okay. So if I don't get to see AKM versus Defran at some point during Overwatch League, I'm going to be really disappointed. Soldier versus soldier. Okay. That's what I want to see. At some point, I want to see this. Anyway. Developer comments, this change should potentially allow Soldier 76 to kill an enemy hero one shot sooner. Reducing the time between when you can sprint and when you can fire should make the ability more fluid and responsive. Giving Tactical Visor the ability to target Junkrat's Riptire and Baptiste's Immortality Field Drone is a quality of life improvement, since both of these are critical targets. Since these are both critical targets. I change a lot of wording in my head by accident when I'm reading, huh? I'm weird. I like that. I think that's cool. Even when Soldier 76 was the most overpowered, chat, I never felt like he was a bullshit hero or I hated dying to him, because he still had a point at my head and click. Sombra hack. Cooldown is reduced by half when hacking a health pack. That's actually just convenient. It says developer comments, the cooldown hack often makes it feel less effective to target health packs instead of players. This will make both health packs and players viable targets for hacking. Okay, cool. So if I'm defensive Sombra, I can just hack both packs before they even walk in? Is that how it works? I don't know. This makes Sombra mirrors really weird. I will say that. Torb. Base health increased by 50 armor. It's happening. It's happening, chat. Base health increased by 50 armor. Torb now has 250 max health. Overload. Armor gain reduced from 150 to 100. Developer comments, Torbjorn's survivability was a bit low, so he shifted some power from his overload ability to his base health. I like this. I like this a lot. Because it felt like you couldn't do anything. It felt like I couldn't do anything unless I was ulting. Or not ulting, sorry. Overloading. Ulting in my head, still thinking of old Torb. That is very convenient. That is very cool. Because before it felt like, you see a Torb press E, out of his armor's gone, you could just walk up, just two-shot him, like he's dead. Because the moment that like a Torb is sitting there, he's like so thick, such a square hitbox, you just can't miss. But now at least he'll have that 50, and not only that, it's 50 armor, which is really nice, having that armor. Because his hitbox is so huge, he's actually really going to need that. Because I swear to God, dude, if this was new Soldier 76 and Torb didn't have that, there wouldn't be no more Torbs. Torbs would be extinct. Literally the dinosaurs, dude. Torbs would be gone. Okay? If that Soldier 76 buff went through without a Torb buff. Okay, Widowmaker. Infrasight. Reveals enemy health bars, but now canceled on death. That's kind of cool. Developer comments, Infrasight had no counter to its effects, and it now ends when a Widowmaker dies. To balance out its higher risk of use, Infrasight now reveals enemy health bars to the Widowmaker's team. I actually like that a lot, because it feels like if there's an ult, and I can just, like, if there's walls up, ooh, that makes it so weird. Because, okay, you know what happens a lot of the time, right? We have a defensive Widow who's popping walls, or an offensive one, right? They used to, like, try to take that 1v1 versus each other all the time. All the time, with your walls. Because you'd sit there, and you'd think of, like, oh, I can win this 1v1 with walls. This will be fine. But now they might be a little more scared. Wrecking Ball. Okay, Blizzard. Sorry. Hammond. All right, chat, me and you. Hammond. Blizzard. Adaptive shield. No longer cancels roll mode. Developer comments, this will make adaptive shields a more powerful survival tool since being forced out of roll mode felt Wrecking Ball more susceptible to fire. You know how overpowered that is? Hammond... Oh my god, dude. I legitimately think Hammond is like... In my book, Hammond is secretly the most overpowered hero in the game, and this is going to make him insane. That's what I think. That's crazy. Okay. Chat, we have a lot of really small changes and some big ones. Is there anything I'm missing? Bug fixes. Fixed a bug would need healing, wouldn't display in chat if the hero you target didn't have heals. Fixed a camera bug. Fixed a bug where switching between Junkrat skins, one of the bombs on his vest would spin. Fixed a bug where Anna's clothes would clip. Whoa. Chat, is Blizzard is trying to fix cosmetic clipping in a Blizzard game? Chat, you guys played WoW, right? Like, what the fuck? Is this actually Blizzard? Sorry. Ash fixed a bug that prevented audio feedback from saying if ammo was low. Diva fixed a bug that made Diva very... Oh my god, they consider that a bug? You put that as a bug? Diva fixed a bug that made Diva difficult to knock back while she was firing her fusion cannons. How was that a bug? That's been in there for years. Okay. Alright, that's a really big boop buff. So not only can Diva be booped, like, as far as anyone else now when you're shooting, you can actually get booped when you're shifting, too. The Diva is very sad right now. Genji fixed a bug that caused Genji's Dragon Blade to end before the deflection duration was complete. Fixed a bug where Genji would be knocked back unusually far when using Swift Strike to hit a Doomfist Rocket Punch. Okay, the second one was just funny. Wait. So if I just deflect at the end of my Dragon Blade, I get the full deflect? Wasn't that kind of skillful to do that, though? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think it matters. It really doesn't matter. Hanzo fixed a bug where Hanzo's leg would more visibly move while he was in his meditate pose. Fixed Mercy. Fixed a bug where Mercy's left knee would bend unnaturally when stunned by McCree's flashbang. Important. Orisa. Fixed a bug that made Orisa very difficult to knock back when she was firing her fusion driver. Oh my god, dude. You do realize half the people run Orisa on that stupid Nepal Sanctum map was specifically because you couldn't be booped? And now you just made Orisa be able to be booped on that map? Oh my god. Reaper fixed a bug where a button on shoulders Reaper's Lubu skin appeared to be floating. Okay. Reinhardt fixed a bug where a piece of Ryan's back displayed incorrectly using the Guan Yu skin in the hammer down highlight intro. Fixed an issue that allowed Ryan's Earthshatter to hit people further off the ground than intended in specific circumstances. Earthshatter will never work. Yeah, sure they did, Cap. Yeah, sure. Sure you did. Sombra fixed a bug where Sombra's stealth exiting effects wouldn't play if an emote was used to exit stealth. Oh, so they fixed the, you could hide the sound effect with cool things. Fixed a bug where Sombra couldn't quick melee while using her hack. How long has that been in the game? I think it's been forever. Symmetra fixed a bug where Symmetra would gain ultimate charge while casting Photon Barrier. So not when the ult was active, but only during the cast animation? Okay. Torb fixed a bug that prevented Torb from using Molten Core in custom games if ability 2 is disabled. Nice. Widowmaker fixed a bug that prevented Widowmaker's Venom Mine from damaging a hero if they triggered at the edge of the trigger radius. I've never seen that. Maybe once or twice, actually. Been some weird... I've seen a lot of weird things with the mine. But... Okay, let's sum this up. We went through all the bugs parts, too, just to keep it busy. Probably shouldn't have. Oh, I am so scared to see this character with goats. And Ashe is now better versus... I mean, everything is practically judged around goats. Everyone, even... Because goats is so prevalent, not only in Overwatch League, but high-level play, everyone just looks at everything as in context of goats right now, which is like... Does this nerf or buff goats? That's how everyone thinks about it. It's like, okay, well, Ashe got buffed. We don't really know what the outcome of this patch note is. This is just quality of life. It's nice. This is quality of life. You can peel easier as Lucio. New sounds, it's pretty pog. Nano boost was reduced. Who even plays Ana goats anyway, unless the other team doesn't have a diva. Doomfist buff by 1 second. Yeah, that's still nice, but the E distance was the real one. And I don't really play enough. I never even see new Doomfist, so hopefully they do something now. I don't really know if they exist. Hanzura, that's kind of nice. That's stats no one cares. This Deadeye buff is a real nice counter versus goats, I will say that. It's really nice for breaking Ryan Shield, really nice for killing tanks. That's really nice. May. This will make the noobs rage. This will get me through the Hanamura choke. Moira. This just makes it so if you have to puff at people because you're low on energy, that you heal them a little bit more and you can top them off. Okay. Let's see. Orisa. Movement's penalty reduced from 50 to 30, so she can try to dodge with her planet-sized head more often. Minimum explosion damage 16 to 20. I don't think this impacts literally anything, but I don't know if it changes anything else about how like curves or scaling works with Splash, but it doesn't look like it's a big buff. Soldier 76, this is obviously a gigantic, ginormous buff. Like, huge buff. Sombra, that's just nice for Sombra mirrors. Defensive Sombra can get a lot more hacks, and if that way you don't have to think about it as much if you want to hack all the packs. That's just quality of life. Torb. Torb can hopefully actually tank more than 1 second of Soldier 76 before falling over. Widowmaker, that's just nice, being able to counter Widow. Hammond is going to be so insane with that change, and I think that's it. That's the patch notes.